Hello and welcome, you join me, ADG, and here we are for round 5 of the Next Gen Racing's Ginetta GT4 Championship. This time we're at Zolder and we are straight into my qualifying lap, my fastest qualifying lap as well. So it's another wet session. This game is rather unpredictable for its weather, but I quite like it, and yeah, threw up another wet session for us once again. If you've watched any of my videos so far, you'll realise that there's been quite a few wet sessions so far through this championship. Been pretty good. But yeah, just trying to keep it neat and tidy through this one. Hadn't actually practiced in the wet whatsoever, but it didn't feel, the track didn't feel too bad to me. To say it was raining, there was still quite a bit of grip. Saying that, I was on the wet tyre, so always helps, obviously. Too bad through the chicane, taking it nice and steady. Tricky little section through this bit. Losing the rear end a little bit into there, but it just lined me up perfectly for the apex. It's good. So I was flat out through there. Kind of, I don't know where I was going into that braking zone, but managed to get it right in the end. Coming up to the last chicane. Tricky old track is this one. Just for the chicanes more than anything. It's a bit like Monza. I think of it as like Monza anyway. Very similar. We're just straights and chicanes more or less. Some good sweeping corners as well. There we go. That was my qualifying lap. Put me into first place. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that was quite good enough, but I think it's because I did it early enough, and obviously as the track got wetter, people weren't likely to get faster, so I think that was my saving grace in qualifying really, the fact that I managed to get a fast lap in quite early. So there we go, see the qualifying results just finishing off. I'm in first, RV Motorsport in second, Mamster in third, Beam Flicker in fourth, Gnarly Pop in fifth. An old man in sixth. I can never work out this guy's name. Swede Roger or something in seventh. Etc. etc. You saw it for yourselves, so I'm not going to go back. Anyway, we'll get this one underway. Waiting for the race start. Not the best of starts from me, I'll be honest, if you watch this. I didn't even start in the position I should have started in. It was that bad. So yeah, a bit painful to watch back, but something to learn from, I guess. When we finally get underway, that is. Here we go. Revs are going.
Low tire pressure, stay away from curbs.
So RV Motorsport managed to do me here. This is my problem. Look, I was rolling way too far forward on that green marker you've got to follow. So then I had to slow down to get back into the green marker, lost all my momentum, then I got that bit wrong, so I had to brake to make sure I was under 43 mile an hour. Did it again, and then finally I started in like third place after getting pole in qualifying, so I well and truly ruined that start, but most importantly I stuck it right to the inside apex on T1 and managed to get away without any contact, no rear end action or anything, and got away into second, so I can chase RV Motorsport at least after that. A dismal start, but lesson learned, that won't happen again. I don't know what I was thinking. I suppose it caught me out, I guess, because, well, this is my excuse anyway, it caught me out because on other tracks it feels like the rolling start happens. You go through quite a lot of the track, you go through a few corners and it seems like it takes a while to get going, but that one, you just got straight onto the straight, and then I don't know. I've messed it up anyway, so too late to do anything about it. Just live and learn. I remember thinking at the time driving this, it's a little bit sketchy on this opening lap. Just needed to get into some kind of rhythm, even not just the opening lap, the first couple of laps in fact. Felt like we were just making little mistakes here and there. For example, going deep into there, following RV Motorsport, did the same thing. Sympathetic braking. Last chicane now. cut this video down. It was an hour-long endurance race. At night, it's not particularly dark at the moment, but it does get a little bit darker later on. But yeah, an hour-long endurance race. I've cut it down to just over half an hour. But the main reason for that is there just was quite a lot of laps that were very similar, put it that way. Not a lot of action going on. So I've tried to concentrate on the action that was happening in and around me. In and around me, maybe not in me. Love this corner. Down a gear. Chuck it in. A bit too aggressive over the curve that time maybe, but got away with it. This chicane's quite good as well, but I did keep cutting this one. Got a bit sketchy towards the end. I got a few corner cut warnings through there, let's say. Not by taking it too much, not by taking the piss too much, for want of a better phrase. Got the tyres somewhere near up to temperature, or about as good as they're going to get in this race. They're always slightly cold on the actual surface temperature on the right hand side anyway. Managed to get a nice even balance where they weren't too cold, but they were never perfect. Pressures were quite good all the race, so managed to get that about right. There we go, on to lap 2. Lap 3, 2. However you want. Yeah. So this pretty much continued up until the first pit stop, so we're going to skip and speed it up a little bit in a second or two. Broke away from beam flicker behind, and RV Motorsport's got a 1.7 second gap at this point. So we'll just fast forward through this little section of the race, speed it up, not a lot happening. This just continued lap after lap after lap pretty much until the first pit stop basically. Pit window opened after 20 minutes of the race had gone, and the pit window lasts for 20 minutes. Yeah, just trying to concentrate on keeping with RV Motorsport, but he was driving well. He was driving slightly faster times than me, not gaining massively over each individual lap, but maybe a 10.42, and got the gap up towards what's 2.1 seconds at the moment, but getting towards the pit stop window he had the gap towards 3 seconds I think it was, so slowly but surely he kept gaining on me. It was hard work trying to stick with him. But a tricky track as well, Zolder, to really push it on, because it's one thing in qualifying and practice, like pushing, going for a mega lap, but in the race you just don't want to make those mistakes, and it's so easy to do because of these tricky little chicanes. So you try and keep it slightly conservative, just so you can get through without killing yourself every single lap. A bit like if you played on Gran Turismo Sport, a bit like that Dragon Trail Seaside. You can't go flat out through it, even though you might do in qualifying and push it in practice or whatever. You're never going to do it in the race because you want to actually survive. Like I say, just continues and continues this one. Just followed RV Motorsport for pretty much the first half an hour of this race. Sped it up for a few laps, and then we skip a little further forward. Good stuff though. I was trying and trying. I've got the gap down now back down to 1.2 seconds, so I've slowly gained a little bit of time back on him, but again it was just yo-yoing really, so where I'd gain the time, the next lap he'd gain time on me, and we'd end up about the same again, 2 seconds or thereabouts. Still 1.2 at the moment though. Get my words out. So yeah, not too bad a start to this one. Been good so far. Apart from the fact that I didn't actually start in first place, even though I managed to get pole in the wet. I was a bit grieved about that one. But looking back at the replay, I've only got myself to blame. Completely messed it up. As I have already mentioned. I think I flashed my lights up then. Yeah. I was considering using my lights to flash, but in a lot of leagues they don't like you doing it. But if you don't actually say anything in the rules, I've done it before in other leagues. Can be quite off-putting if you do it at the right time. So there we go, skip forward onto lap 18 now. It's gone over the line. Back to normal speed as well, which now looks incredibly slow. So still following RV Motorsport, the gap's now up to 3.2 seconds. 10 laps after we just saw me a second away from him. So again, he's gained that time back on me. So we're in the pit stop window now. Just gone over the half an hour point in the race, and there's another 10 minutes of the pit stop window open. I'm pretty much running out of fuel, so it's determining my pit, which is going to be this lap. Unless, oh no, it might be next lap, I can't remember how I did it. We shall soon see. I think it's this lap. Looks really slow. Driving this on the wheel, there's all sorts of going on, loads of corrections, and it feels dramatic, but you watch it back, it looks quite calm and slow sometimes. Certainly not when you're driving it, trust me. In fact, my girlfriend had a go the other day, and it made me realise, obviously I've been doing this for a long time, it made me realise how difficult it is when you first jump on, and you first have, you first jump on the wheel and give it a go. It cast my mind back to, look at what I do here, by the way, I completely messed this up, but yeah, it cast my mind back to about I can't even remember when I bought my first wheel, but 6-7 years ago I would guess, and I remember it took me like 2 weeks to even start getting laps in where I wasn't flying off and outbraking myself, and I could actually hit a few apexes and stuff. I felt like I was getting good. Little did I know I was absolutely terrible still, but it was good at learning. I absolutely loved it, but yeah, it just made me think watching my girlfriend the other day. Yeah, I forgot how hard it is when you don't know and you haven't done thousands of hours of practice. Anyway, if you look, I didn't change my tyres in this pit stop, so I completely messed it up. The compulsory pit stop means that you've got to change your tyres. So I put fuel on, which is handy, but yeah, I didn't change tyres, so I didn't realise to start with either. I was thinking like, how have I got such a quick pit stop? I've managed to jump RV Motorsport, but then I did think my pit stop was only 10 seconds, so I knew there was something up. But I started thinking, do I need to change the tyres? Because my girlfriend was sat here at this time, and she mentioned, well, she seemed to think that I hadn't changed them. I wasn't sure, but I just had to look at the temperatures, and the temperatures seemed quite high, so I thought, yeah, I probably haven't changed them. So I decided what to do basically. I thought on this lap and the next lap, I think I went for 2 laps, I don't think I actually came straight back into the pits, but I decided what to do. I couldn't decide whether to actually just risk it and probably get disqualified and lose my points or whatever from this race by not changing the tyres, am using the 20 seconds I saved myself in the pits over RV Motorsport to win the race, or probably not get disqualified but lose first place and come into the pits and actually do the right thing and change tyres. Eventually I decided to actually come in again, so in a second or two when I whiz round these couple of chicanes I'm dropping back in again. So this completely ruined my race. Not ruined it, but ruined my opportunity to get a really good result. But again, it was my own fault. Still got things to learn in this game, and letting myself down. My driving's not too bad, I could still improve driving wise, but I'm letting myself down a little bit with these mistakes kind of in the pits and other little issues here and there. So we're going to the pits again, get under that 31 mile an hour limit, make sure you do that, otherwise it's another trip into the pits. So you can hear me moaning in the background. Get down onto the tyres, let's change them this time, so just select yes and cruise our way down the pit lane once again for the second time, as we now drop into second. RV Motorsport's just gone through. And as we sit in the pits painfully for 30 seconds, we have to just wait and suck it up. Fast forwarded, but it still seems like a long time. So here we go, back out, and when we rejoin the track, we just drop into 5th position there. By the time we get out of the pit exit, we can't even see the guy in front. So we are, let me have a quick look actually, we are 6.3 seconds. Is it 6? Is it 4? I can't see, tiny little screen when I'm doing this, recording it back. Is that 4.4 seconds, 4.5 seconds that he is in front? So I've got my work cut out to try and catch the guy in front now. This is all I can hope for. I've completely messed up my race. I just need to try and keep my head, put those lap times in, and try and make something out of it really. So the best opportunity I had was catching the guy in front. So that was my main focus now, just get the laps in to try and catch that guy. Keep an eye on the delta, see if I'm doing any damage to him, if you like. See if I'm taking any time out of him. And just keep going and hope for the best. Still 20 minutes left of this race, so still quite a long time. I quite like it speeded up, it looks better. Feels like I'm an absolute beast. Yeah, the bad side of speeding it up, it really does feel slow when you watch it back at normal speed. Again, just trying to keep it neat and tidy, tricky little chicanes, nice and steady through them really. But still trying to keep some kind of pace obviously. The whole idea of the game. Name of the game. I love the fact that we get comedy speeded up voices as well from when I'm talking over the whilst I'm actually recording it on Monday nights. Love this corner, 4th gear, tip it in, back on the power, absolute beauty. Hitting that chicane pretty hard, pretty much every lap. Like I say, I got quite a few track cut limit things, notices. Always came up and said no advantage gained, but yeah, I'm not going to lie, I did get quite a lot. I ended up getting a warning and then another warning. So I was absolutely papping myself at one point during this race, thinking that one more cut of one of these corners and I'm disqualified here. I don't know how it works in this. Do you get 5 warnings? Do you get 3 warnings? I was assuming it's 3. You can't just keep doing it and keep getting warnings. The warnings have to mean something eventually. So yeah, it was a bit of a nervous time at some point in this race towards the end when I'd got so many. There's another one you see, warning for track cut over that chicane. I didn't feel like I was really doing anything wrong. I was just taking as much curve as you can through that corner, if you know what I mean, but every now and again I guess it was a little bit too much. So on lap 24 now, start lap 25. And we are about to slow it back down again, I think. Are we? Yeah. And the watchers now have caught up to the back of beam flicker through that section. So I've reeled them in, and the time, or the gap, is now down to 1.5 seconds. So we're going to watch this section. Quite a long section. It takes me quite a long time to reel him in here, but I really enjoyed it, and it was probably the most entertaining part of my race, this. Even though it was fighting for 5th position, and I could have potentially done myself a favour in the pits and not had myself in this position, but there you go. That is the cards I dealt myself almost. So yeah, fast forwarded all that time out of the pits. I think I came out of the pits on lap 19 or something, so it's taken me about 6 laps to gain all that time and close up into some kind of distance where I can see him in front. And again, it takes me quite a long time from this point to actually get closer again. Me and Beam Flicker had a little incident last week as well, where we both ended up off track actually, so there's a little bit of previous history between us already, and we end up racing again this race, so it was good. I had no intention of being dirty or anything like that. Try and race as clean as possible at all times. I'm not very good at it, but I do try. There was a moment, thinking back actually, there is a moment in this where I did cause a bit of contact, but you'll see how it sorts itself out. It was no big drama. Got to say as well, one of my better overtakes happens later on in this race. That's all I'll say. An absolute beauty though, if I do say so myself. If there was an overtake of the week competition, I'd be clipping that and putting it in. Not that you've seen it yet, I mean, I'll let you judge for yourselves. But personally, I thought it was a beauty. Trying my best to claw in that time, get right onto the back of a Beam Flicker and potentially give myself chance to have a dive or an opportunity somewhere, a little mistake from Beam Flicker maybe, and get past. Just trying to get close enough to make that opportunity happen.
Gaining on the car heading sector 2.
Yeah, I had to push. It was a good point in the race this, I enjoyed it. If you notice as well, I actually I've kind of over fueled because I did 2 pit stops. I think I fueled on both of them, so I'm actually carrying way too much fuel at this point in the race as well. I mean, what have I got on? I've got like, I can't even see, it's too small again, but I think I've got like 38 laps on or something, and I only need like 10 laps of fuel. So yeah, I had way too much fuel at this point. I forgot about that actually. I'm glad I remembered. Here we go, I'm getting close now. Bumper to bumper with Beam Flicker. Nothing happening so far. He has a bit of a moment through the chicane. Not the cleanest run through there, but nowhere really for me to go. I'm just settling back behind. Beam Flicker does have a, let's say, special way of using a lot of the track to keep you behind.
Clear on the right.
Nearly went into the back of him, so I had to just go chuck myself out to the left hand side there, get my out braking done without any contact, and then get it turned back in. But drop myself back a little bit from his rear bumper like I was. So a little mistake, but there we go, close back up in the last corner. I had to lift off a little bit though, looked like a little moment of oversteer. That last corner it's quite annoying actually. It's probably one of the harder corners on the track, even though it don't look like it. the second part of the last chicane. Again, just trying to keep my rhythm going, trying to focus on just clawing that time back, get to his bumper again. These are my best chances for these fast corners really, but he does a good job there, keeps the gap nice and even though I felt like I took that corner quite well. It's always annoying when you feel like, actually while you're racing, when you feel like you've absolutely nailed the corner and the guy in front does it as well, you're like, I hadn't even caught him up. You feel like you couldn't have taken it any better. You've never done it that well before, but you still don't gain because he just manages to do it as well, miraculously on that same lap. Yeah, gutting. Anyway, here we go. Side by side, I managed to just get myself a little tiny gap, but I can't quite carry the speed because he's holding me narrow, and I had to give him room around the outside there, so again I had to back out. I'm really trying to fight for it now. This is the one where I went a little bit desperate, a little bit deep. That's what I avoided on the last lap by outbraking myself, but I went to the left hand side. This time I outbraked myself, but I dived to the inside, getting a little frustrated, I'll be honest at this point, trying to get past, and that was the result of it. So caused a little bit of contact, but I just let him gather it straight back up, and it didn't really lose as much time. Probably lost us about half a second, a second at the most, and it was no harm done really. I don't think there was any damage either because it was light contact. So we just carried on, and this is the moment here. I just flick it over to the left hand side because he's going defensive there, and look at this. Just carry the speed on the outside, brave as you like. There could have been contact. He did well as well to keep it clean. Credit to him, but I just managed to get past, and now I need to defend into to keep it. I don't really do the best of jobs of it. I actually go wide, run a little bit of gravel, so it leaves me vulnerable into here. The tight chicane, so I have to go defensive. Get the job done down the inside. Just about managed to pull ahead of him into the actual chicane, and job's a good one in the end. But whew, it was a hairy couple of corners at the time, going round the outside, then him coming back at me, and brilliant racing though. I really enjoyed that. But yeah, so eventually managed to make my way past Beam Flicker, and hopefully you'll agree that was quite a good overtake, because it was a sketchy one, but it worked out. Like I said, watching it back just then, he stuck to the inside, I chucked it out to the left as wide as I actually dared. I nearly went too wide, and then opened up the corner, just carried the speed on the outside, gave him the room at the apex, and there was enough speed carried to get past basically. So yeah, definitely one of my better overtakes on this game. So we're going to speed it up again because that's about the end of the action for the time being, and we'll go towards the end of the race and finish this one off. If you've enjoyed this and you've got this far through, thank you very much. If you feel like hitting that like button, do so, much appreciated. If you aren't subscribed and you feel like doing so as well, feel free, much appreciated also. Thank you very much for watching as well. I'm not aiming to get mega views or anything like that, but it's always nice to see a few people watching. It's always good. So thank you. That's a strange noise. Don't know what that was. Just rounding out these last couple of laps in double the speed. I actually didn't manage to record, it's happened before this, so these endurance races are tricky to get right. Didn't actually manage to record the full race either, so I've missed the very last lap because of the restriction the PS4 has of only being able to record for an hour. And unfortunately I tried to record straight after it finished. I pressed it straight afterwards to just capture again, but my library must be full, so it didn't let me capture the last like minute and a half I think it is. So unfortunately I haven't had what am I trying to say? I can't actually get my words out. I haven't actually got the last lap, so I do apologise, but nothing changed in regards to my race, but I don't have the results either, so unfortunately I know who won. I'll just well, might as well say that right now. RV Motorsport won the race. Mamster, I think, came second. Lollipop came third. They're the positions at the moment, so I am assuming that's how it finished. I'm just trying to bring it home in fourth here after a disappointment in the pits, really, from this race. I was having a couple of things actually. Bad start, a really bad start. Meant that I didn't even start in the position that I should have done. Anyway, and 2 pit stops instead of 1 because I didn't change the tyres on the first one, rather stupidly. You have ages to check as well. That's what annoyed me. You have absolutely ages driving down the pit lane to check everything, and I just didn't. I just assumed that it was all going to work, and again, lesson learned. But yeah, frustrating stuff. So, literally coming towards the end now. It's been a great season so far. We're at a halfway point, so we're going to have a week off, so there'll be no videos next week. After this one, there'll be a week's break until you see any more videos or any more racing from me. So yeah, much appreciated if you've stuck with me so far. If you want to go back and watch the previous races, they're all up on YouTube. I did miss the first round because I joined the league late, but yeah, I think I've done 4. There's 4 to go back and watch if you feel like doing so. And yeah, once again, much appreciated. Thank you very much for watching. We're pretty much at the end now, and yeah, it's been a good one. Not the most entertaining race, I'll be honest, but still enjoyed it. Could have been a little bit more consistent. I need to work on my driving on this game, but there's always room to improve. Anyway, again, thank you very much for watching. Take care, look after yourselves. I've been ADG. Tell your mates. Share this. I always forget. Share it if you feel like anyone would benefit from watching these things. Bye for now. Take care.